disrupting your life and beginning to look at the disruptions in your life and what do we do with that? How do we handle that? And I'm reminded of the words of James Weldon Johnson. And I want some of you who are not familiar with, I want you to listen to the words. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod. When hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We've come over a way that with tears have been watered. We've come treading a path through the blood of the slaughtered. Everything that we experience, everything that we now are taking advantage of, somebody paid a price for it. And one of the most important things that we have to do on an ongoing basis, and I want you to write this down and to honor this moving forward after hearing all the speakers and after this experience, upgrade yourself. I was looking at my computer and asked, are you ready for an update? You want it now or later? And I push now. Usually I say later because it usually takes time. And we really should update our knowledge on a regular basis, update our vision of ourselves on a regular basis, upgrade the vision and the goals and the dreams that we have on a regular basis. Why is that? What's the purpose of updating? Because where you are right now, that level of impact and that place where you are right now and the skill set that got you there, that has expired. And you got to update your skills, your knowledge. That's why Einstein said the thinking that has brought me this far has created some problems that this thinking can't solve. One of the most important things that you're doing, and I congratulate all of you that have been listening and watching, that we are made in the likeness and image of God. Think about that. We're made in the likeness and image of God and been given authority and dominion over everything. Notice, didn't say some things, over everything on the face of the earth. Think about that. Then why is it that most of us die unlived lives? Why is it that Dr. Miles Monroe for years said, rob the cemetery of your gifts and of your talents and of your abilities and of your skills and your leadership and your book and your music and the impact of your life? Why do you say that? Why do we have to say that over and over and over again? Because we have been programmed and are being programmed every day. And so we have to every day stop, check ourselves, and update and upgrade our vision of ourselves, our knowledge, and write this down, our skill set. That not only because of things we have gone through, but things that we are dealing with right now. The goalpost has been pushed back, and there are things that are taking place now politically to oppress, to deny, to exclude our participation. This is a different space. And here's the success of what's going on right now, and why you're watching me, and why your voice and your story and your knowledge is so important. We have been programmed to be spectators, to be fans. You look at the number of people that watch a summit and listen to speakers sharing their story and their experiences and how they got through and how they got over and how they got to the other side. Look at the number of eyeballs, the number of people who view those. And then you look at the number of people who view old basketball games, boxing matches, football, various acts of foolishness on the internet. The numbers are just minuscule based upon what you're watching right now. And I want you to know You're different. The fact that you're watching me, the fact that you listen to the speakers, you are different. The average person not watching this, they're looking at stuff. Who's the GOAT? And we're going to share, we've been sharing with you how to become the greatest of all times in your own life. Most people in their own lives, they are rookies. They're living a life of mediocrity. Our goal is to help you to begin to not die with your music still in you, as Shakespeare would say. It's about the music. It's about the fire. It's about your mindset of living your life on your terms. Most people aren't doing that because we have been programmed to be fans, to be spectators. And so what happens is that you can get so busy and consuming, and I had to look at myself. I said, wait a minute. What am I supposed to be doing right now? My life has changed. You used to think people in their 40s were old. Now, I'm 77. I'm old as Methuselah. Come on, huh? So who does 77? Are you kidding me? Let me tell you something. I get up real early. Before I get started, I get my little mascara out, and I start covering the gray hair. I don't believe in gray hair. No, homie, don't be playing that, honey. I'll be covering up. Why? My kids say, Daddy, you would look so distinguished with your gray hair. I'm not trying to look distinguished. Hello? I'm trying to look young. Just because I'm 77 don't mean I have to look 77. I don't have to. How many of you agree that I don't have to look like I got one foot on a banana peeling and the other one in the graveyard? If you can feel a brother up in here, just put some fire in the comment section so I can see it. Or say yes, yes, yes. Say yes 3 times. I ain't playing with you. I'm coming for you this afternoon. I'm coming for you. Did you hear me? So we got to get a checkup from the neck up, because stuff's living at a time where we have instruments, algorithms that know more about us than we know about ourselves. But it's not just the knowing that's dangerous, but the manipulation that's dangerous. I saw something about how to reduce inflammation in your body. I'm a 4th stage cancer conqueror. So I said, let me see what that is. And sure enough, it was an infomercial. It was a commercial about a product, all right? Do you know, I timed it. I got numerous commercials coming on my phone, on my computer, about how to reduce inflammation in your body with herbs, with food, with exercise, with a variety of things. How is that possible? Because they're listening to us. Write this down. Behavior marketing. They're watching our choices. Do you mind if we follow where you go? When you go to another website looking for something, they have a database and they can distinguish that and pull that stuff out and start marketing and pushing products to you and giving it to advertisers, giving it to corporations. Here's what Les is interested in. He just put something in dealing with his inflammation. And we're going to start marketing to him about that. He also just put something that he wants a 6-pack. He says he only has 1 pack covering up 5 packs. Do we have something for him? Yes, I got something for him. Good. All right. Here's his email. Go on. If this is automated, this is not driven by human beings. This is automated. They're making money off us while they sleep. And while you're looking at this, it's very important. What you tune into, you turn into. The reason that most people are fans and watching, who's the GOAT? Is it LeBron or is it Michael Jordan? Who's the GOAT? Couldn't even afford tickets to the game. Come on. All right, come on. The GOAT. Woo, isn't that just cute? Isn't that? Come on. We're talking about looking at our lives and checking ourselves, because sometimes you can confuse being busy with being productive and being profitable. But here's something else, and I think it happens to you after 40. Here's something else. Time picks up speed after 40. I'm telling you what I know. I'm 77. I'm telling you, once you get 40, you don't get 30 days out of the month. You might get 2 weeks if you are lucky. And listen to me right now. Listen to me. If you got some big bills, guess what? You now don't get 14 days. All right. Now you get about 8. So wait a minute. Did I just pay that bill yesterday? Come on. I mean, life has shifted. It has picked up speed. And so in order to navigate this, in order to live a life of love, of mind, of harmonious relationships, an achievement-driven, heart-centered life, you have to check yourself, update your knowledge and your skill set. And here's something else that's major. You have to look at your relationships. I want you to say to yourself every day, why? Every day. Can you just say it one time? No. McDonald's we know where they are. And every day there's a commercial. Why? They program us to go get their products. They program us to create a thirst. Write this down. The thirst. By saying what I'm going to share with you, it will create a thirst and a hunger to make it happen. It will activate something that's called the reticular activating system. It was designed to help us to begin to identify the things that we want and how to achieve them. They created a missile that was designed, and I want you to follow me on this. It's been a minute since I talked about this. They created a military device that was designed after the human mind. It was called the teleological missile. The teleological missile, once it got a target in sight, the teleological missile, when it was released, if the target went to the right, the teleological missile, this smart missile, would go to the right. This is technology that has never been done before. If the target goes to the left, the teleological missile would go to the left. Keep in mind, it's designed after the human mind. Listen to me closely. The teleological missile, once it gets a target in sight that it is supposed to hit, when it's released, and if the target vanishes, the self mechanism in the teleological missile will trigger it to self-destruct. Whoa, whoa. Did you hear me? It's designed after the human mind. We are here for a reason. When someone can destroy your identity, how you see yourself, which takes away the purpose and the meaning of your life and the direction of your life, hello, I'll wait. As Dr. Della Tiro would say, yeah, when you see people, see, life is for living, and you're an energy source, and that energy is going to be used. It will be used destructively or productively. A friend of mine, he was telling me about his mother who was on drugs for years, and he got her to go into a drug program. And when she got out, after a short time, she went back on drugs again. He said, why would you go to a drug program to get off these drugs, and now You back on them again. She said, wait a minute. Don't jump on me about this. This is my life. I only went into that drug program to stop y'all from getting on my last nerve, aggravating me and nagging me that I need to go get some help. I didn't want to go, but I decided to do it because I was tired of y'all. Y'all thought I should do it. I think my life is fine, and I'm doing what I want to do. Hello. As my twin brother Wesley would say. See, people who engage in self-destructive behavior, one, they have a negative image of themselves. People that are listening, you that are listening to me now, each person, every speaker that you hear, the words that they speak, remember, what you tune into, you turn into, is designed to enhance, to empower, to expand your vision of yourself beyond your mental conditioning, beyond your circumstances, beyond the adversities that you have been or are experiencing. Thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be established unto you. So I want you to write this down. The rest of my life will be the best of my life. I want you to write that down and say, I say it every day. The rest of my life, when I first get up in the morning, oh, thank you, Lord, for a brand new day. All things work together for good for those who love God. Don't mean that every day would be a good day, but there's some good in every day. And the rest of my life will be the best of my life. If you agree with that, if you feel that, if you want to declare that for yourself, he said, thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be established unto you. Come on, somebody. You want to be an advertising agent for yourself. You are the GOAT in your life. And you don't want to be a mediocre player in your life. You don't want to be a spectator and a fan in your life. You don't want to be seated in the bleachers in your life. You want to make actively, in the mindset of Abraham Lincoln, he said the future belonged to those who create it. You want to create it. I'm so fired up, my nose running. I can't believe this. Hey, come on now. Of all the times, this is so embarrassing. I'm turning red, but y'all can't see it. Oh, Tyrone, you got to help me out. I've been talking to Tyrone. We're doing a wedding rehearsal. Tyrone is my squirrel friend. And so I was just fitting him for his tuxedo. And he met Trina, his fiance Trina, and so we were doing a rehearsal because I'm doing the officiations for it. So this is Trina. Y'all haven't seen Trina, but she gorgeous, honey. Miss Trina, come on, baby, don't be shy. So this wedding, we're orchestrating this. When you've been locked up too long, you start talking to squirrels and conducting marriage ceremonies. You can't make this stuff up. Who marries squirrels? Okay, here's something else. You look at your life, write this down, realign yourself. Realign yourself. That's what people don't need to be in your life. I can't believe this. Of all the time. For my mustache to be messing up. Oh. Is it gone? Who does this? You are crazy. I know. Realign yourself. Get some friends who love squirrels. That would be me. See, there's some people you need to get out of your life. Why? Because they will compromise your energy and your power. And when they take away your power and your vision of yourself, you will unconsciously, getting on this path, having nothing to aim for, engage in self-destructive behavior. It might be alcohol. It might be procrastination. It might be surrendering to fear. It might just be not doing the things that you need to do. It might be causing you to lose your focus. This is a time that you want to keep the main thing the main thing. This is a time that you want to be persistent. This is a time that you have to be determined. I was talking to a man who lost his only son, and he said he went in a room and found his son dead in bed from an overdose. He said he fell down on his knees and screamed out to God. And at that point, he didn't want to live. His only son gone. And he heard my voice. If life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. And he rolled on his back and he got up. Another gentleman, he was going through a tough time, had suicidal thoughts. And as a result of what he had gone through a divorce, lost his job, went through foreclosure. Seemed like his life had been turned upside down. But that wasn't enough. He lost someone that was very close to him who passed. And he heard my voice. Listen to this. Somebody saw him at an event. 3 weeks later, entertainment. They have these white parties where people dress in white and go out and they dance. They travel around the world to meet other people who dress in white and dance. And somebody asked, I didn't expect you to see you here. What are you doing here? He said, Les Brown said, you will get through this. As I was in the arms of grief and feeling sorry for myself and being depressed, he said, sooner or later, you're going to get past this pain. And he said, I decided to make it sooner. Come on, somebody. Don't you make me get up and dance for you. Don't you come. I decided to make it sooner. Come on, bust the move. Mm-hmm. Yes, come on. Sooner or later, you will get through this. I decided to make it sooner. Write this down. We make decisions, and our decisions create our reality. That created a shift for him. The shift from grief to living life now. All of us sometimes need a word to shift our thinking, need a word to remind us that we have greatness in us. We have abilities and talents and dreams. We have some good stuff in us that God placed there. All of us have been chosen. If you weren't here now, there would be a missing piece to the puzzle of who is required to help make this world a better place. That's why Horace Mann said we should be ashamed to die until we've made some major contribution to humankind. If you agree with that, I want you to put some fire in the comment section. If you agree with that we're here to live a life of meaning, of purpose. We're here to live a life of impact. I'm calling a cousin that I did not know I had, and to have her take me to go see the grave site of my birth father that I have never seen. I've seen the birth site of my grandmother, Beulah Rucker, and to Dorothy Bell Rucker, my birth mother. And because I now realize They had to do what they had to do. Had they not taken themselves down to Miami to give birth to me and my brother and give us to Mamie Brown, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I'm a different person if I had been raised in Gainesville, Georgia. Nothing wrong with Gainesville, Georgia. But because of the impact, the influence, the example, the love, the sacrifice of Mamie Brown, she took care of us like she gave birth to us. That inspired me. That brought something out of me. You know, she adopted altogether 7 children. I was among the 7. And I heard this guy, Ed Milet, said, usually in families, there's one who will show a level of gratitude. There's one who, even though born in the same situation, under the same roof, they are raised, ate from the same table. But there is one who will be dramatically different. There's one who has an expanded vision of themselves. And even if you are only a child, you are the one. I can't tell you, only child, spoiled brats that I've known over the years that had everything, and didn't appreciate it. Had a mindset of entitlement. I had one of my daughters check me. I'm not going to say her name is Samaya. And I was telling her some stuff I wanted her to do for me, and she didn't do it. I said, hey, what's up with that? She said, you act like your children owe you something. At first, my feelings were hurt. But then I thought, my children don't owe me nothing. They didn't ask to be born. No, they don't owe me nothing. And so that was a wake-up call. You better take care of yourself, young man. I don't call myself an old man, young man. Yeah. And hold yourself to a higher standard. Don't be like the other people in your age category, acting like they're winding down. People say, you know, at this stage of your life, you're older now. I said, no, you get older when you stop working, when you stop contributing, when you stop being an active force in life, when you allow the disruptions in your life to allow you to feel like you are old. No, I'm still growing. Age is not determined by the number of earth days that you have. It's determined, are you still relevant? Are you still making things happen? Are you still participating in life? Are you still engaged? The reason that you're watching me now is there's something in your heart that says, I am not going to die an unlived life. No. And if there's something that someone says at this summit, I know I got some music in me. I know I got some good stuff in me. If there's something said by these speakers, by these coaches, by these trainers, if something is said that's God guided, that will inspire me to get out of my history and live out of my imagination. He said, I'll give you all your eyes can see, and I'm going to listen. I'm going to be present. Present. I'm ready. I'm taking notes up in here. Oh, my time has run out. So I want to say you have something special. You have greatness in you. Bye for now. When I think about the 3 pillars of something that would be your anchor, a foundation to drive you into the future, to live a big dream, to live a big life, a mindset, what you think about, you bring about. You know, as a man thinketh, so is he. Dr. Carter G. Woodson said that if you can determine what a man shall think, you never have to concern yourself with what he will do. He said, if you can make a man feel inferior, you never have to compel him to seek an inferior status.
for he will seek it himself. And if you can make a man feel justly an outcast, you never have to order him to go to the back door. He'll go without being told. And if there's no door, his very nature will demand one. And I think that in many cases, governments and religious institutions have really unwittingly crushed the dreams and aspirations and the visions that people had of themselves. Not all, but a lot of them. And I think it's incumbent upon the individual to take responsibility, to develop yourself, to expand your mind and your vision, to seek out experiences. You know, Helen Keller said life should be a daring adventure or it's boring. And start to dream. What do you want? What do you really want for your life? I remember going to Auschwitz and walking down the halls in the Nazi German concentration camps and seeing the pictures of men and women who had dreams. And these people were exterminated. And one of the things that I heard in my mind when I reflected on a book written by Viktor Frankl, who was there, he said, if you know the why for living, you can endure almost anyhow. And he talked about the people who were able to survive the inexpressible cruelties of Nazism, those who either believed in God or had someone that they loved that they were determined to see, or some cause bigger than themselves. And in my case, my goal was to buy my mother a home. That was my big dream. And that caused me to read things and to listen to things, to fuel my imagination. And then to develop my skills to becoming a voice of influence. And the other thing that's important is creating a community of collaborative, achievement-driven, supportive relationships. And it started with a man, Mr. Washington, who said, a high school teacher, someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. It could start with one person, and then it goes from there. I started associating with people who were doing what I wanted to do. I joined a multi-level marketing group called Best Line Products. When I heard the voice of a guy that when he spoke, it seemed like he was talking to me. I was in a hotel at a convention and Bill Bailey spoke and he was selling this dream. I didn't even know the products, but I wanted to be a part of it. And what I found, and one of the great things about multi-level marketing, is that it puts you in a community of other like-minded people. I think that's the value and the power of associations of different kinds. Associating with people who share your values, associating with people, like-minded people who have dreams, who have goals that they're working on, and being in that community. Studies indicate that one goose can fly 40% further in formation with other geese than can ever fly by itself. In fact, I'm thinking about a scientific study where they exposed some rats to electronic shock, and after they increased it, it killed them instantly. But then they put these rats in groupings with other sharks, with other rats. And then what happened was that they continued to increase the shocks of these rats, and they increased it over 10 times more. And it took far more to kill them than what it took with just one. And so there's something about being in a community of people who share your dream, who hold you accountable, who challenge you, who call you out, who can see what you can't see that you have within you, and inspire you to step up. Of Ebony Magazine, the late John H. Johnson, who started that with a $500 loan from his mother, and he said something in his book called Making It Against All Odds. There's no defense against an excellence that meets a pressing public need. And I suggest to you, one, work on yourself. To me, I think there are three pillars of what's required in order to carve out your place in this global economy. There are many steps, but there are three that I think that's indispensable. One is working on your mind. Be ye not conformed to this world, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. The second is of having a mindset and willing to discipline yourself to make the sacrifice to engage in ongoing self-study for self-growth and development, developing your communication skills. I can hear Mr. Washington now say, Mr. Brown, develop your communication skills, because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. Nelson Mandela said, if you speak from your mind, you speak in a language that a man can understand. But when you speak from your heart, you speak in his language. And so my goal in teaching people how to create mass appeal, how to change lives, that you have to change yourself. It starts with you. And then you begin to see from your experience how you can begin to impact and influence others and be a voice of change. And that ability really will allow you to carve out a place for yourself in the marketplace. And the methods and the techniques, the simplicity of how you language what you say. Einstein said that genius is the capacity to take the complicated and make it simple. And so when you are creating change and mass appeal, keeping it simple, but being the message that you bring, and loving it, and standing in your power, and realize that you're here for a reason. I believe to make a difference. I believe to do a great work. I believe to live a life, as Jim Rohn said, when you live your life, he said, your life can be either an example or it's a warning of what not to do, or an example of what to do and what's possible. 85% of them reach their goals because of their attitude, 15% because of their aptitude. Now, to me, that was big, because I was in special education. I was labeled educable mentally retarded. So I said, whoa, that means I don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. That if I have a winner's attitude, that I've got a shot, that I could make it, that I don't have to live a life of being average. I wanted to live a life of meaning, of purpose. Being adopted, I wanted to do something for my mother. And so by listening to motivational messages and reading on a regular basis, it really taught me the value of using your time to work on yourself, to develop yourself, to really restructure your belief system for what was possible for you. It really expanded my vision of myself. And so to me, that's what it means about mass appeal, because I was working on myself. Then I started sharing it with others, and I noticed the difference in them, and I shared with them the things that I was doing because they saw the difference in me. And it's been said that a career is something you love so much you do it for nothing, but you do it so well that people will pay you to do it. So as I talked with and shared with my friends what I was doing and what was possible for them, I eventually evolved into this life of where I am. And as a result, I carved out a market for myself. And because this is my passion, this is what I've spent the majority of my life doing, I've developed a level of expertise, a level of strength and power and reputation in this area that created a demand for myself. To me, one of the most important things and the first step in changing lives is to have a program for yourself. When I started on this path, that was what my goal was to change me. Given my circumstances, I think that, psychologists say that we create a mental blueprint between the ages of 1 and 5, that between that time we determine what's available for us and what's not available for us. And so, given my circumstances, being born in an abandoned building on a floor in a poor section of Miami, Florida, I became interested in a path of developing myself. I remember shining the shoes of Mr. Sidursky, this man that my mother worked for, very wealthy on Miami Beach. She cleaned his home and she cooked for the family and kept the children. And he listened to motivational messages. Unbeknownst to me, that was programming my mind, and it created a thirst within me to get on this path. I remember listening to Earl Nightingale, who said, you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. And so to me, reading became an out. It became a tool that I used to develop myself. And not just reading for enjoyment, but reading for personal growth, reading to look at those things that I read and to apply them in my lives. And I would read sometimes at night from 60 or 100 pages a night, sometimes a whole book. And then I would underline the book and I would think about them, I would memorize them, and then I would apply them. I would try them out. Because one of the things he said, they did a study of some top achievers and leaders around the world, over 3,000 to find out what was the common denominator among them that enabled them to reach their goals.
What do you think has been the greatest skill you've developed over the years? Is it the ability to overcome adversity? Is it the ability to use your words? What is that skill you think that you possess has given you so much greatness?
I think it's a combination of both. One, mental resolve. I think that everybody needs that, because when you have goals and dreams, there will be resistance. An airplane cannot fly without the resistance of air. Walt Disney filed bankruptcy 7 times and had 2 nervous breakdowns. That when you have goals and dreams, the Book of Life says, think it not strange that you face the fiery furnaces of this world. You will, not you might, you will have tribulations. So the ability, when you are faced with something, and it's new territory, when they said, you have cancer, those are 3 words no one ever want to hear. And the oncologist, Dr. Alfred Goldson, who was an unusual personality, he said, you have cancer, and it's metastasized to 7 areas of your body, including your spinal cord. I said, can you give me a second opinion? He said, yeah, and you're ugly too. I know you didn't just call me ugly. He said, yes, I did. You ugly as hell. And then, we both were laughing. He said, but you got this. We determine the diagnosis. God in you determines the prognosis. You and God determine that. You got this. What I learned from that enhanced my speaking. When you laugh, the mind shuts down and the heart opens up. I left there with a confident feeling in my heart. I got this. When he spoke it, I felt it at this cellular level. I did not leave there feeling fear. He was so good with making you feel comfortable with whatever you're dealing with, that you are not in denial, you just are defiant. And so when your show, which has changed millions of people's lives, people you never meet, what it does is distract, dispute, and inspire. How we live our lives is a result of the story we believe about ourselves. What you do is distract them from what psychologists call their self-explanatory style. And through the process of your own example, your own vision of yourself, the guests that you have, the interviews that you have, you dismantle their current belief system. Be ye not conformed to this world. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. You are renewing minds, expanding their vision beyond their indoctrination and mental conditioning. And you ignite their spirit where they decide to create a new chapter in their lives. That's what you do as a speaker and as a host. And people who watch and listen to your program right now in America, before the coronavirus, suicide rate increased by 39%. And children between 5 and 11, it has tripled. How do you decide at 5 to take your life? And now it is soaring, the suicide rate. So what you do with this program, you're giving people hope. When there's hope in the future, that gives a person power in the present, that they can get through it. They might not know how they're going to do it, but they have the mindset. Robert Schuller said, tough times never last, but tough people do. And so that you share with them a voice of transformation, because, and I share this with speakers that I train, who you are behind the words that you speak are more important than the words. Because had you not gone through what you have gone through and experienced, you would not be able to speak from a place of power. You would not be able to come in and do this program and call this the school of greatness, that you've got greatness in you. You have the ability to do more than you can ever begin to imagine. And then affirm and validate people as we are facing this pandemic. It's to be able to say that from a place of power. The spirit of who you are comes through your words, and people feel that when you speak, and they hear it, your sincerity, your genuineness,
And that's why your program is popular, because you impact people, because you know a thing or two, because you've seen a thing or two.
I appreciate that, Les. It's interesting you talk about suicide rates increasing. Unfortunately, I was going on a drive to San Francisco over the weekend, taking my girlfriend up the coast of California, and she'd never seen it. Had a beautiful experience. And as we're driving back into Los Angeles, I live in a condo building, a tall condo building. It's probably 35, 40 stories high. And as we pull into the building, and I'm about to park, I see police with a yellow tape and a white tent, and over the kind of driving area. And I remember just thinking to myself, there's no way someone jumped off this building. There's no way someone did this. And I asked right away, I go, tell me someone did not jump. And the guy looked at me and he just said, yeah, a couple hours ago. And I go, you're kidding me. And I later found out it was reported in the news. This was yesterday. Yesterday. This just happened. Wow. It kind of shook me up a little bit too. And literally I learned that the person who jumped, who's my building, it was literally right next to my window, a few floors up. He jumped out of, his name is Steve Bing. It's all over the news right now. And this was a very successful businessman who 55 years old, I think, I think it was reported he was worth hundreds of millions of dollars. A very successful businessman who was close friends with Bill Clinton, who I saw Clinton made a statement about as well. And I haven't been able to stop thinking about it since yesterday. I was thinking about it all night. You said it was hard for you to sleep last night from stuff you saw. For me, it was hard for me to sleep last night thinking about the pain and the suffering that people go through inside that we may never know about. And, I was trying to rationalize, like, why would this happen? Was it drugs? Was it depression? Was it, like, I can't reason sometimes why this happens to someone who you think it would never happen to, or someone who had all the things on the outside that seemed to be successful, but for whatever reason, I don't know. And I don't know how to make sense of that type of stuff. Do you know how to make sense of things when you see that?
Well, I had a guy, he wrote me, and I kept this text where he had tied a noose together. He was going to hang himself, had it around his neck, and he was going to get a chair. He was trying to look a place where he could suspend himself and placed a rope, and the phone rang. And he had said to himself, God, give me a sign. So with the rope around his neck and holding part of it in his hand, he answered his cell phone, and there was nobody there. And he took that as a sign, and he said in that moment, he was listening to me, and he remembered a statement I made that life is God's gift to us, and how we live our lives is our gift to God. And
wow.
He said, he asked himself, why would I throw my life back in God's face? I was talking about the fact that we were chosen, 1 out of 400 million sperm, that you are a masterpiece because you're a piece of the master. And he said, I kept saying to myself, I'm a masterpiece. I'm a piece of the master. And he talked himself back from those suicidal thoughts. He really didn't want to die. He wanted to stop the pain that he was experiencing from the breakup of the relationship, from the loss of his job, from what he felt his life had the rug snatched out from under it. He's among those 40,500,000 people who have lost their jobs in the coronavirus economy. And so that's why what you're doing is so important, because when you go through an experience, you have the school of greatness, not elementary school, high school, college. No one is saying to people, you have greatness in you. In those type of structures, even in church. And so the reason that I advance with that, the Book of Life says, greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. That you have greatness within you. That that when Mr. Leroy Washington, who, when I was so captivated by this man's oratorical skills, he was a speech and drama teacher, and he asked me to do something. You know the story.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted me to go before him and read a script really before the class. And I said, sir, I can't do that. I'm not one of your students. And he said, do what I'm asking you to do anyhow. I said, I can't, sir. And the other students started laughing, saying, he's Leslie. He's got a twin brother, Wesley. Wesley is smart. He's DT. And he asked, what's DT? He's the dumb one. And I said, I am, sir. He said, don't you ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. And he did that. I was startled. Because my mother said, sticks and stones can break your bones, but words can never hurt you, but words can hurt you, and very deeply. And when he said that, someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. I remember going to my next class, and between classes, I kept saying that to myself. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. As I was going home, and what they think about me, I don't have to be that. It's not what they called me, it's what I answer to and what I call myself.
Dang.
You know, that was an interrupting moment.
Wow.
That's how your program is it's a disruptor, more powerful than Corona.
Ooh, I always love hearing that story. That story never gets old for me.
Yeah.
And how did you learn to overcome the opinions of others, but I think more importantly, the opinion of yourself? Because if we have the program, we have, I am the dumb twin. Yes, sir. I am learning disabilities. I am this. How did you personally overcome your own biggest enemy?
He was a voracious reader, and he gave me a book, James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. That little pamphlet is a powerful little pamphlet. I've read it a lot. And The Power of Positive Thinking by Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. I read that over and over again, and other motivational books, Secret of the Ages by Robert Collier. And so reading those, he said, if you want to become successful, number one, develop your mind. And he was a fan of Earl Nightingale, that you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. The strangest secret in the world. I've listened to that so many times, I've wore it out. And then the other thing he said, develop your mind. Next thing he said, practice OQP, only quality people. Surround yourself with people that you can learn from, people that have more than you, people that will help you to grow mentally and emotionally and financially and spiritually. And the next thing he said, which is the master key to opening up new worlds for you, is your ability to communicate. Because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. And I believed him, and I followed that. I never forget when I was in Poland, and I was in this stadium, and I saw my name up, and people started chanting when they saw me coming through the tunnel. And I said, Mr. Washington, this one is for you, sir. Wow. He's gone. He's been gone. I eulogized him. I said, I'm gonna make you proud today, because it was my first time speaking in Poland, And so, but I so admired him. I've never known my father or birth mother, but that the ability to connect with people that are strangers to you and can create a shift in their lives and how they see themselves, to have that sacred opportunity to share your story and distract, dispute, and inspire them to realize, as the play Lion King, Simba, you are more than that which you have become. That's what you do every day, up in here.
I remember last time we talked, you said you wanted to really leave a legacy by teaching other people how to speak and communicate better. And you were creating a select, smaller group, I think it was either 50 or 100 people that you wanted to train and speak. Are you still doing that? Because I had a friend who was going through the program with you, or hired you, my buddy Judd. So I didn't know.
Judd, oh, I know Judd. That's my dude. That's my
Yeah.
brother from another mother.
Exactly.
Yes, man, from Australia. Yeah. Yes, I'm training, but I've had to increase that number. I do intense one-on-one training, but I'm selective about working with a lot of people right now. But we do it virtually now. I can do it more virtually because I'm 75. So I cannot afford with underlying issues of diabetes and cancer. And 75, if you show up at the hospital, they'll push you in a coat over there and say, no, you about to leave here anyhow. So we're not going to waste any medicine on you.
Wow.
So I'm staying out of harm's way. I'll tell you how bad it is, Louis. I'm upstairs by myself, right? I sneezed. And man, I broke out and I started running downstairs. I said, wait a minute. That was my sneeze. So I came back upstairs and I still started spraying the Lysol. I called my daughter. I said, I think I'm having a meltdown. I want to go in the house. She said, no, you can't go anywhere other than Walgreens and Publix, and we will drive you there. You don't need to be behind the wheel. I said, I'm not that old, so I'm being very, very disciplined and keeping myself out of harm's way.
That's good. That's good.
Keep my mask.
That's good.
Doing all the stuff that we need to do. Common sense.